Jaire would still be the number one defensive back on this group.
You said it's a great day to be alive. It is, but it's a frustrating day to be a Green Bay Packers fan.
I get why you would do it, given his lack of availability the last several seasons, but it's risky.
You know what's sticky for the Packers? Their top three cap hit players are Jordan Love, Rashawn Gary, and Jaire Alexander. That was the case. We might be having this conversation about Rashawn Gary if he rolls out another 8-sack season.
No one wanted to pay him $17 million this year because you don't know how many games you're going to get for that $17 million. The Packers didn't want to pay it. The potential trade partners didn't want to pay it. And now here we are on Monday, June 9th, nearly 5 months since the season ended in Philadelphia, and Jaire Alexander went through the locker room and proclaimed, "Y'all don't want to talk to me. I don't even know if I'm going to be here. I don't have anything good to say." He's now officially moved on by the Packers, who are releasing him today. Tausch, does this make the Packers better to not have him on their team?
No. It makes them better in the fact they're not paying $17 million for a guy that has not been able to stay healthy. And I think overall, in the grand scheme of things, had Jaire been able to come back on an incentive-laden deal like we kind of had discussed and been able to play, even 13 or 14 games, yes, I think the Packers would be better. I don't know if there's anybody right now that when fully healthy, Jaire would still be the number one defensive back on this group. So
yes,
all of these other things are in play, and life isn't as simple as he's the best, whatever it takes. Well, that's the reality of economics of football. It's just not how it is. And you said something earlier this offseason in this whole situation where you kind of said a lot of twists and turns, and we were pretty steadfast. And then things changed a little bit in my mind when I saw that he was working out with Xavier McKinney, and you started hearing things, and I just was good to the point. Well, maybe Jaire won't have any other options, and he's going to be humbled, and this is going to be his best. And I don't know where he's going to end up. I don't know how much money he's going to end up making, but I would bet that whatever Green Bay offered, I would bet is going to be very close to the best offer he was going to have. And for sure, playing time, if you're including the playing time opportunities, I think that would have been the spot. But when you said this, because you're hearing Matt LaFleur say, we'd like to have him back. Oh, you're hearing Jordan Love say, we'd love to have him back. Not once did I ever hear Brian Gutekunst emphatically say that.
Mm-hmm.
And Gutey says that about everybody. Oh, we'd love to have all our guys back. We'd love to have Aaron Jones back. We'd love to have this guy back. And when you didn't hear that and you kind of heard all the other stuff, Domofsky's probably the guy that took the most quills throughout this whole process on social media. He was very blunt from the jump, had his sources. And I'm not going to guess who his sources are, but I have a good hunch. We just talked about him. And he ain't going to come back. That just wasn't how it was going to be. I heard him on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy this morning. He said, if you don't want to believe my source, I can't tell you who my sources are, but trust me, they're pretty good.
All in all, when it comes to the Jaire Alexander release, it seems risky. I get why you would do it, given his lack of availability the last several seasons, but it's risky for a team that is going to play Terry McLaurin, Amon-Ra St. Brown twice, Justin Jefferson twice, Jamar Chase, Marvin Harrison, DK Metcalf. I mean, there's some really good receivers on the Packers' schedule this year, and there is clear uncertainty at that position. Well, Keyshawn Nixon impressed last year when he was able to play outside and played a little bit of that top corner spot. Are you sold on the idea that this guy's an elite corner in the league? No. Do you like the things you've seen out of Carrington Valentine, the former 7th-round pick entering year 3? Yeah, you like what you've seen, but are you sold he's a number one corner and going to be able to shut down the likes of Terry McLaurin and Jamar Chase when they play them early in the season? I don't feel great about that. I mean, it is certainly a questionable move. Now, the Packers, and we'll get to this more in a little bit, but they saved some money by doing this, And there are still some decent corners on the market if you just want to add some depth and just add some options at that position. I don't think that's the route they're going to go.
Gutey said right off the bat, we've invested a lot in him. He's a good player, so if he's not going to be with us, we want to get something back for him. So I thought to myself, okay.
He a lie.
He a lie, Kyle. But you thought to yourself, you know what? If he's not going to be a Packer, you're under control of him. He's an all-pro player when he is healthy. Top 10 cornerback, according to Pro Football Focus, when healthy. And
big PFF guy, Brett Nortman.
well, it's all stats, baby. You know I love some stats. And you'd say, okay, if we're going to get a draft pick out of him, another extra capital to have in the draft in Lambeau, I guess that's okay, even though it hurts the Packers a little bit. Gutey goes in. Proclaims he's going to be traded, doesn't address the cornerback position in the draft, exits the draft looking at the cornerback room thinking, oh boy, we're a little bit thin here. We need to get Jaire back. Reinitiates conversations with Jaire. Wants to have him back. A complete about face from what he said earlier. Jaire now has the leverage. He uses that to his advantage. And now the Packers are in a position where if they're not willing to give him his contract, they got to release him. That's exactly what happened. Gutey botched it. He either should have executed the trade and just done it. Not gotten greedy, just done the trade. Or find a way to bring him back, because now you're left with nothing when you had a guy under contract for at least 2 more seasons. Unacceptable, and I think that the room is much worse because of it.
On the Carbless Talk and Text line 800-990-3776, Cody chimes in. Don't know how they got worse if he never played.
That's not true. He never played as crazy. So this is the thing, is that we can't sit here and overreact. I'm not going to overreact without losing Jaire Alexander, but I will say this team did not get better, and they did get worse. And he did play. He played 43% of the snaps the last couple seasons. The last 2, he played 35% of the snaps. So I understand he did not play a lot, but he made an impact. We talk about the fact in that game against Philadelphia, the Eagles, the first game, yes, there was a big play that was made early on in that football game for a 67-yard touchdown by A.J. Brown. But other than that, Jaire Alexander had an interception in that game. He played well in that game. The game against the Tennessee Titans, guess what? When we did not have our star quarterback in Jordan Love, that means your defense needs to step up. And who was one of the players that stepped up on the defense? A guy you depend on, and Jaire Alexander, who had a pick 6 in that game. So what I'm saying is this. You're losing a guy that has the ability to rise to the occasion when you need him to. We can't forget the Dallas Cowboy game when he rose to the occasion. He didn't play a full season that year either. And so when I look at this, the Green Bay Packers got worse because now they have less reliable guys at corner. Now you got to figure out, are we going to play cover 3? What are we going to do in order for us to make up for the loss of Jaire Alexander? And the reason why I feel like the Green Bay Packers are in a worse position today than what they were yesterday at this time.
What happened to not overreacting?
No, I'm not overreacting. I'm just giving out the facts. We're in a worse position because of the fact that you don't know what you're going to do. You don't have playmakers on defense. What is the next thing Gutey is going to do? Because we all know going into next season, if it's Hobbs, Nixon, and Valentine at corner, that room is not strong. This room is not solid, and you put much more pressure on a defensive line that we don't believe in, and then also on the safeties group that they can only do so much.
2024, with Jaire Alexander, they played 7 games. Opponents completed 61% against the Green Bay Packers as far as completion percentage. A QB rating of 77.5. 7 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 24 points per game was allowed by the Packers defense. Without Jaire, 10 games. Teams completed almost 71% of their passes. QB rating was 95.3. There was 15 touchdowns thrown against them, 8 interceptions. There's more games, so the 8 interceptions in 3 more games, not that... I'm sorry, same amount in 3 more games, not impressive. Allowing more than double the TDs in only 3 more games, still not great. Then the other part of it was 27 points per game. So the defense, I'll let you react to it, but it sure as hell looks like the defense dramatically better when they had Jaire.
Yeah, and I believe that Matt's even thrown up a stat in the last couple weeks, too, where he basically broke down the games that Jaire was in for and actually played versus the games that he wasn't.
That's what I just gave you, yeah.
Yeah, and no, but percentage-wise, I believe that the Packers win 10% more games when Jaire Alexander is healthy and on the field.
I believe it was 70 to 60%. Like 70% or 66%
so
when he's on the field. Yeah, it was a 10% difference, though. There's a difference between being a playoff team and missing the playoffs, likely.
Yeah.
And then you add this into it, so I'll react to this as well. Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, Malik Neighbors, just some of the wide receivers the Packers will be facing this year.
Yep.
So there's that.
Do you hear me panicking? Everything is fine.
Their defensive
under control. Situation normal.
Their defensive line was poo-poo last year to the point where they fired their defensive line coach, and we'll get to that in a minute. But they brought in Nate Hobbs, who he hasn't covered himself in like Iron Man glory. In 2022, he missed 6 games with a broken hand. In 2023, he missed 4 games with an ankle. He was healthy last year. So nothing crazy, but it's just a reminder that even healthiest corners are going to miss some time. Mm-hmm. And so the depth ain't there for the Packers. We can all agree on that, regardless of whatever you think of Carrington Valentine, Nate Hobbs, Keyshawn Nixon, and whatever else they got there. So, I mean, it's
I'm literally pulling up their depth chart right now as we speak.
It's a poo-poo platter at the cornerback position.
Would you like me to read it off for you, Jim?
We got Micah Robinson and Jonathan Baldwin, whoever that is.
Hey, don't forget the illustrious Gregory Jr. there, Mitch, backing up. Kalen King and Kamal Haddon. Micah Robinson. Tyron Herring? Is that a character from Game of Thrones? Isaiah Dunn. And that's all the backups. Because the top group, guys, wait till you hear this one. We got Keyshawn Nixon.
Dog.
Nate Hobbs.
Dog.
Wrong kind of dogs.
Carrington Valentine.
Dog.
More like
Oh, and
wolf.
by the way, Javon Bullard holding down that nickel spot.
Dog.
So that's the question that Javon Bullard, I think, definitely moves now to the nickel full time.
That's what they have him listed as on the depth
Yeah,
chart.
he was drafted as a safety. Evan Williams took his job. So Bullard's already not on the hot seat, but like not a great first year, but maybe he can make it as a nickel. But here's the problem. They got a bunch of nickels and no number ones.